apparel industry from design, manufacturing to retail. Trends like IoT, 3D printing, digitization of data are getting intertwined with apparel business. Gone are the days when daily output was calculated at the end of the day or inventory used to be stocked for months. Artificial intelligence is not only showing real-time trends for buyers, but inventory tracking, if combined with AI's powerful data prediction tools for trend forecasting, can give significant competitive advantage to buyers. To sensitize us on some of these technological interventions, we have four speakers with us today: Mr. Kashyap Kompella, Mr. Anshuman Das, Mr. Varun Sanatya, and Mr. Arnab Majumdar, who bring a spectrum of expertise in different apparel areas. We are honored to welcome our first speaker of the evening, Mr. Kashyap Kompella. Mr. Kashyap Kompella is the CEO of RPA to AI research firm. He has 20 years of experience as an industry analyst, P&L leader, management consultant, and advisor to leading companies and startups across Europe, US, and Asia Pacific. He's an author, a columnist, a teacher, and has spoken in more than 100 plus conferences across the globe. He is also an award winner at various platforms on AI and robotic process automation. One of his best-selling books is Practical Artificial Intelligence. Mr. Kashyap will be speaking on AI in apparel business, ranging from design, manufacturing to retailing. Please welcome Mr. Kashyap Kompella.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm introduction. It's almost as long as the PechaKucha itself. Should I get started, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be addressing you today. So artificial intelligence is in fashion. But what exactly do we mean when we say AI? It means different things to different people, like in this old parable that you see on the screen. So I invite you to take a few seconds and reflect on what comes to mind when you think of artificial intelligence. I'll wait. And now that you've had a chance to reflect on it, my submission is that for the vast majority of the people, their impression of AI is based on movies. Terminators, killer robots, AI that has feeling and emotions that people fall in love with. The all-knowing, all-feeling, sentient AI. That's called general intelligence. The good news or the bad news is we don't have that now. And we may even never have it. But what we instead have is something called narrow intelligence. That is software that's good at a very narrowly defined task, such as identifying objects in images, translating speech, making predictions based on past data, and identifying patterns in large amounts of data. But if you think about it, artificial intelligence, the term itself is 65 years old, it's not new. So why all the excitement about AI now? Why are we even talking about it? Simply because of three things. There has been tremendous progress in terms of computing power that's relatively cheap because of the vast availability of data because of digitization, and some newer computer science techniques called artificial neural networks. In popular parlance, artificial neural networks are called deep learning. So if you look at the graph on the right, if the accuracy of the previous generation AI was 50%, deep learning scores about 80% marks. So that's huge and enables real world use of AI beyond science fiction. So that's the context. And now the apparel and fashion industry is a very big industry in the world. It's about $2.2 trillion. You'll know this better than I do. And this has traditionally been a digital resistant industry for a variety of reasons. But because of COVID-19 and because necessity is the mother of invention, this industry is poised at the cusp of, at the tipping point of digital transformation. There are a bunch of emerging technologies, such as smart fabrics, wearables, sensors, 3D printing, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc., which is enabling this transformation. And AI is a horizontal technology that works on its own as well as undercuts all of these different technologies. So that's like Industry 4.0, there is Fashion 4.0 or deep fashion. Okay. So, but while there are exciting possibilities, we are definitely in the early days of AI-enabled transformation. COVID-19, like I said, has definitely accelerated the transformation. And you'll find examples of use of AI sprinkled across the entire fashion life cycle, such as design, manufacturing, distribution, and marketing. And we will see what those are. So one of the shining examples of the use of data analytics and AI in the fashion business is this Stitch Fix. I'm sure you've heard of Stitch Fix. It's a $5 billion US company that acts as a personal stylist and shopper. Based on your preferences, it drops off apparel for you at your doorstep, and you have a choice either to keep them or return them. You can understand how getting the right clothes to you is very important to their business model. And they are very heavily reliant on using deep learning to make arrive at these predictions. So that's a theme that we see through all my presentation, how data enables newer things or makes existing things better. So now everybody wants to predict style trends. One of the biggest problems that this industry faces is excessive inventories and markdowns. So for example, it's staggering that only 60% of all apparel is sold at actual price and everything else is marked down. So it's being able to use data to predict styles, what works, what gels with consumers, that's very important. And that's what AI enables you to do in various ways. If that's for the actual goods, there are virtual goods where virtual clothes, where clothes are not made of textiles, but they're made of pixels. And it may come as a surprise to you to know that video games are a bigger industry than Hollywood. And if fashion is about identity and self-expression, and if we're increasingly spending more time on digital, then people want to express themselves digitally. So video games, skins in video games, it's actually like a booming multi-billion-dollar industry. People want to express themselves through their online avatars, to how they look in this thing. So I won't be surprised if a lot of you end up actually being digital clothes designers than actual clothes designers. So there's a big trend that's happening. Now, while all of this is on the design side, if you talk about the automation of garment making itself, see, robo cutting of fabrics has been around for some time, but sewing presents a problem because robots actually have a lot of difficulty in working with elastic fabrics, things like that. But now, because of advances in soft robotics, garment making is also seeing adoption of AI. For example, there is this startup called Software Automation, which has this machine that you see called Sobots, which is equipped with robotic arms, vacuum grippers, and specialized micro manipulators, and can guide a piece through a sewing machine with like sub-millimeter precision. So this is still in the early stages. They offer this as a service, Sobot as a service, but it's coming down. So next, the traditional fashion calendar, the mainstay of the fashion industry, that is in its last legs. I'm sure like through Zara, through H&M, they have popularized this fast fashion. And now fast fashion is giving way to micro seasons. So if you want to streamline, a brand wants to streamline their assortments, this enables that. Being able to figure out what works in which, what is trendy using AI, using machine learning, using data science, we're able to have these kind of business models than ever before. But fast fashion also raises some important questions because when you think about it, the track record of the fashion industry when it comes to its environmental impact has not been very good. 12% of the fabrics of the fibers are discarded on the factory floor itself, and 25% of the garments remain unsold, and less than 1% of the products are recycled into new garments. So that's not a very good record, I'm afraid. So if you're able to build better forecasts, you can reduce waste, and even advances in material technologies such as lab grown leather. You see, the third lady is actually trying to hold a weird kind of a purse. That's a superimposition that I did, which is a lab grown leather. So this helps in a circular economy. This helps in making fashion industry itself more sustainable, and AI has a role to play as well. Of course, the bread and butter use case of AI is supply chain optimization and forecasting. So if you want to better match consumer preferences, you can leverage technology and analytics to even assess consumer sentiment prior to production. So their made to order business models are becoming possible, and you can eliminate. I talked about how there is a lot of elimination in the entire fashion supply chain that can be eliminated. And now you see that online omni-channel, that's what consumers are increasingly preferring. But there are still certain hesitation in consumers' mind. So innovations like shoppable videos, and data shows that try on technology that's made possible because of augmented reality, virtual reality, that increases conversions for online retailers by about 250% up to 250%. And digital, while digital is on the upswing, physical retail has been on the downward trend for a while, not just in India, but in other places as well. And there is a lot of pressure on the physical retail to improve its ROI. And so the things that I talked about, such as smart mirrors or augmented and virtual reality trial enabled trial rooms, they make shopping experience so much more. They give a reason for people to actually go into this store rather than order it from there. Now, like I mentioned, fashion has been digital resistant for a long time, but because of COVID, a lot of the fashion weeks and runways have gone digital. And consumer behavior has definitely shifted as people sheltered from the virus in their home. Travel was restricted and stores were closed all around the world. But digital consumption has continued its dominance. And if you, there was a poll of the fashion executives in the world, they said COVID is their biggest challenge and digital is their biggest opportunity. So I'm using digital, but digital is enabled because of technologies like AI. So it's imperative on fashion companies and brands to develop more engaging and social experiences so that consumers continue to buy clothes. While that is one side of the equation, the other side of the equation is like we always looked up to taste makers to tell us what to wear. And now, none of the people, at least most of the people you see on this screen, are not real. People are taking their fashion recommendations from Instagram bots. They're even making it to the magazine cover. So we don't know what's real, what's virtual. And the two models posing next to the one in the middle are real, but the actual model itself is not real. Fashion catalogs, fashion advertisements, I mean, there is a lot of change happening because people are using synthetic images, synthetic identities. So the point is there is a lot of churn in the industry, a lot of new things that are coming down the pike. So when you order in Bangalore from something like Fresh Menu, you think of it as a cloud kitchen. Now, businesses like Rent the Runway, powered by AI and machine learning, they enable a cloud closet. And as consumers increasingly prefer less is more and embrace a less is more philosophy, this is again something that is going to be. Next, there are a lot of innovations that are happening on the online side of things. There is live streaming. I mean, what I have seen in the last year has happened. And fashion shows are happening from the home. There is live streaming, there is customer service video chat, and social shopping. Normally, without COVID, these probably would have taken about 5 years for the industry to embrace. But now, I mean, companies are really excited about these kind of things. So now if you think about it, let's pause. I mean, there is a lot of change that is enabled by digital, that is enabled by AI, that is coming down the road. My sense is by the time all of these become mainstream, it's probably going to take another 5 to 10 years. Much by mainstream, I mean like majority of the businesses adopting. But if you look at yourself, your career span is probably about 30 to 40 years. So while it's exciting time, it's also an interesting time because you need to really keep pace with the rapid pace of technology. So technology and AI are really game changers for the industry. And according to me, the industry will look completely different in 10 years into the future. And it's a no-brainer that AI and digital should be part of your portfolio as you go out and take on the world of fashion. So in fashion, to conclude, they say, I mean, to be successful, you need to have long legs. So as a professional That's you need to have deep expertise in a specific area, or you need to have broad shoulders where you know a little bit about everything. This is a traditional MBA, a generalist MBA. But increasingly, because of the rapid pace of change, not just in fashion or apparel, but in different industries, people need to be T-shaped. Both have long legs as well as broad shoulders. So aspire to become a T-shaped professional where all the things that you're learning in this course or in other courses are going to be that strong foundation where you constantly keep adding digital fluency and data analytics and AI, those kind of things as on your broad shoulders. If you do that, the world is your oyster. So all the best. That's my session today.
Renika, you are in mute.
Thank you so much for this insightful presentation, Mr. Kashyap. AI and robotics are indeed taking the apparel industry ahead by leaps and bounds. We are delighted to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Anshuman Das, an entrepreneur and technology buff. Mr. Anshuman was director of Loiva Intech Private Limited till 2014, where he played a pivotal role in development of patented button feeder attachment. At present, he is the marketing director of H&H Asia Group Hong Kong. He is also co-founder of Unique Innovation and Incubation Center in Bangalore. Mr. Anshuman would be speaking on a very rapidly expanding market of stitchless technology. Over to you, Mr. Anshuman.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'll just share my screen.
There should be a button at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah. Actually, it's now maybe.
Yeah, there it goes. Anshuman, you have to unmute yourself. Yes. Actually, we should start from the first.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So generally, the industry knows about the seam sealing hot air machine because of this PPE case also. So the tape comes with the hot air and then roller, it press on the machine. So something the seams look like this for the waterproofing. While doing the waterproofing, there are some critical portions where we need to press also to make ensure the water leakage doesn't happen from the joints or cross points. After that, every seam has to be tested with the hydrostatic pressure test, where we need to see the water leakage onto the garment. So these are few critical things when we do the waterproof garments. Garments like this, we can see the top jackets, or we can see the swimwear, all those things. When we talk about the seams, in the polyester and nylon fabric, we can do about 3 different type of seams: butt seam, bottom hem, and overlap. But in cotton and cotton poly, we have only bottom and overlap. We cannot do ultrasonic because it doesn't contain of polyester things. So when we do the bonding, what are the improved appearance and performance, stretch and recovery, smooth profiles, wearers comfortable is very important in this, lighter than conventional seams, but depend on fabric also, durability of the seams, and waterproofing. Of course, the fabric consumption also we get saved when we do the bonding seams. Few seams, different type of, we have designed about 45 different seams. There's few you can see here where you can see the tape, you can see the binding, you can see that pocket, you can see the zippers, you can see the ventilations and all. When we talk about the seam strength, if you see the plain seam, if you find the polyester, the orange is basically the polyester fabric. So you can see the strength is very high. Even the nylon spandex, which is the yellow one, you can see the seam strength is high. So what we do different type of seam tests. We do with the peel test, and we do the also the shear tests with the machines where it records the graphs, and then we allow the garment to be okay. This seam is approved for this kind of this. So this tests are very important. When we talk about the machines, yes, machines, of course, people know about the heat press, but here the heat press controls the temperature monitoring, also the pressure monitoring, because only one time it will be given you time to do the bonding. There is no redo the things. So these are important features when we talk about machine. Machines has different features like safety bar, touch screen, hot PLC, hot and cold options. Silicons are very important, which is like you compress, but it doesn't happen. Then these machines, when we talk different type of all three machines, you can see where the first machine left side, it is attaching tape and then bonding. So here ultrasonic, when you are joining the fabrics with the ultrasonic applications, even you can join the polyester or you can join the non-wovens, which has with the polyester content. All different kind of garments can be designed as per requirement, basically aesthetic or functional. T-shirts, if you take a capacity of like 75% efficiency, SAM is really high, 53 minutes, and you can do about 8 hours, 289 pieces. That is the reason these are expensive. Example, panty, it's about 9 minutes. You take 75% efficiency. You can do like 1,000 pieces in 10 hours, but we need machines. Basically, more manpower to get a high quality garments. We can do many logos. Nowadays, people can see many applications can be done with the decorative things also. This is a video where you can see a small example of the zipper bonding. The video is a little bit on speed to complete on time. So you can see all the accessories has been cut. Then you mark it. Then you make ready the zipper. After getting the zipper, you do the ultrasonic cutting. So the zipper doesn't fray from the down. And also it seals the teeth, so it doesn't cut. Then you go for laser cut to make a slot where you have to attach the zipper. After that, you place the glue. So basically, what we want to say is it's a like a human intervention where you need more professional people to make it, but the quality is unmatched. You can't get this quality on the stitching when you do with the bonding things. So about 7 minutes originally it takes for the zipper bonding process. Then you attach the zipper, align it. And finally, it go for a hot and cold process. Why we do the hot and cold process? Because it's a quenching operations. Whatever we do in hot, immediately if we quench it with the cold, it gives a higher bonding strength. So that's the reason we use a hot and cold machine to do this operation. So this is what is the application is ready with the zipper bonding, how you see. So this is our division where we have all machines as well as lab. I'm sitting in my lab. so all people can understand. This is too short time for me to present this, but bonding is really a good subject for future. Thank you very much.
Well, this was a very informative presentation, Mr. Anshuman. Stitchless technology is definitely one which is going to take market by storm, a very upcoming area for sportswear indeed. We now move to our next speaker, Mr. Varun Sanatya, a graduate from NIFT Bangalore from BFT batch 2010-2015. He is a firm believer that any organization wanting to drastically improve their processes need to digitize themselves. Presently, he is working as the Research and Development Manager with Apparel India Private Limited. By amalgamating IT technology with principles of industrial engineering, he is working on making the organization go digitally lean. He was instrumental in developing the Smart Factory, one of the latest units by Apparel. Mr. Varun would be speaking on Smart Factory. I now request Mr. Varun to please share his presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Feels really good to be back presenting to all the NIFT people. Feels like Julie again. So, I am Varun and I am an industrial engineer. Now, you guys might be thinking, why is an industrial engineer presenting on topic like smart factory? Isn't it supposed to be done by a tech guy? Someone who is brilliant in Industry 4.0, someone who is very tech enthusiast. I beg to differ because the problem is not developing new technologies or new softwares. The bigger concern is knowing what needs to be digitalized and how it needs to be digitalized. So it is important in a smart factory for people like us, people like industrial engineers, process owners, to be involved in digitalization. Only then a factory can be made smart. When we think of a smart factory, the first thing that comes to our mind is Tony Stark's lab with all the hi-fi fundas and everything. But a smart factory may or may not be such a complex thing. It can be a simple factory, simple people working on it, on a simple application, transferring data to a database. It could be barcode reader, it could be RFID, it could be a QR code, it can be anything. It could be simple concepts. It need not be very complex. So how to go about converting a factory into a smart factory? The first thing is, we know that to become a smart factory, we need to digitalize a lot of processes and then integrate all those processes into one. But the first thing that we need to do is pick up low-hanging fruits. Now, how to go about, if you know something you have to digitalize, how to go about the digitalization? So the first thing is, you just pick up something to do. Suppose we have picked up to digitalize fabric cutting in our cutting floor as the first low-hanging fruit, which it definitely should be all the first low-hanging fruit because it saves a lot of money to us directly. So suppose we have picked this. Now at this point of time, if we want to digitalize it, we have no clue what we want to do. We don't know what kind of logics we need to bring. We don't know what kind of reports do we want to make. So at this point of time, if we contact the developers or any tech companies to do it, it is probably going to be very difficult to explain them what we really want to do. There is no research behind what we want to do. So the first thing that we did when we did this project was we created lots and lots of Excel sheet with pivot tables, macros, and everything. Many of the Industry 4.0 enthusiasts and advocates would say that Excel is a very primitive, cumbersome tool. And the only way to know that you are digitalizing and getting towards a smart factory is by eliminating Excel. But I would say that Excel is a tool which helps you to digitalize it because Excels are easy to create. When you create Excel, you clearly get to know what all data do you require. You get to know what all formulas need to be incorporated. You get to know what summaries you are generating. And Excel can be edited really quickly. And once ready, you just need to share it to the developers and it is a great reference for them. So the first point is creating powerful Excel sheets. Now, once the Excels are ready, then we connect it to Power BI dashboards. Power BI is a very intelligent and very smart tool. It can give you very dynamic dashboard and it can connect to different sources of data. So because it is so easy to make and it is so powerful, you can just get it on very quickly and you can just see the result. So I believe any factory, any smart factory need to embrace Power BI very efficiently, because no matter how much you digitalize, how many softwares you bring in the end, you need to have great dashboards, and Power BI helps you in this, because with time, continuously you need to improve your dashboards. And you can only do that if you have something very dynamic and simple like Power BI. Most of the companies now have Office 365 subscription with them, and it Excel, Office 365, and Power BI is a mighty tool, and everyone should embrace it. As you can see in this picture, there are 40 dashboards in this Power BI dashboard. So 40 dashboards can be used in infinite number of ways to improve the processes. This is another example of a Power BI dashboard. I highly recommend factories using Power BI dashboard. Now, once the Power BI is ready, once the Excel is ready, we know what our data is required. We know how it needs to be visually represented. So the only thing we need to do is replace the Excel with a software tool or an IoT application. So now is the point. If we share the Excel and Power BI to the developer, they can understand it very easily. We would be significantly reducing the cost of software development. We would be significantly reducing the lead times which is used in making in doing the development. So that is a really great advantage we get by this approach. So we have done a lot of Power BI dashboard, lot of Excel, and we have got a lot of good results. So do not write off Excel and Power BI with the fancy words of AI and other things. They definitely help, but we need to start with this. Only when this is ready, then we move on to AI and ML part of it, because now we have the data, now we have the thinking, now we have the research behind what do we really want to do. Now after doing all this, you can easily apply AI on this. This is an example of attrition prediction that I did using simple machine learning things. Now I have spoken a lot about Power BI, and I know that their software applications might fail. You might create something, it might not. People may not use your applications. So the reason for that is we are creating applications, but we are not creating good dashboards. So a dashboard is the most critical and the most important part of doing digitalization in any place. The dashboard should be driving the people in the organization to do their task efficiently. Suppose I have made a production report, and if the production report doesn't tell the supervisor what are the bottlenecks, where are the low performers, which line efficiency needs to be increased, which line capacity needs to be decreased, all these inputs, if they are not getting through the software tool, it will be difficult to implement it. So it's making a factory smart. To me, it means that it has smart dashboard. It has actionable, insightful dashboard, which are driving its entire workforce. Second point, we know data collection is important for digitalization and making a factory smart. So there are many different ways of data collection, IoT, softwares, spreadsheets. It could be simple applications, it could be barcode, it could be digital measuring tapes, it could be smart machines, it could be sensors, and all those things. So data collection, once you know what kind of reports you want, what dashboards you want, data collection could be done by implementing all these concepts in the industry. So what is really a smart factory? When we want to know what will be the factory of future, one thing that is definitely going to be there is a lot of automations, as you can see in this picture. But the second important thing is we are going to use integrations a lot. There will be many different softwares, and we'll be using APIs a lot. And there will be a centralized database, a data warehouse, which is going to take information from all the places. And then there will be a business intelligence layer to the organization. This business intelligence layer is going to generate alerts. It is going to control the WIP. It is going to predict the lead times. and it is going to do finish all the objectives that it is going to drive all the KPIs of the factory. So this is a really important thing. Factories needs to connect their softwares and create a business intelligence layer. This business intelligence layer, that is why I stressed about Power BI being so important, because it is a smaller form of what we are trying to do, what we are trying to set as the end goal of the smart factory. So thank you. That's how you make a factory smart.
Thank you, Mr. Varun Sanatya. This was indeed a very insightful presentation. I'm sure this has helped students and any organization embarking on smart factory journey to understand the concepts of agility, transparency, and connectedness in greater depth. Last but not the least, we are very pleased to welcome Mr. Arnab Majumdar. Mr. Arnab Majumdar is an alumni of NIFT Bangalore, AMIT 2003-2008 batch. He has worked as an instructor with Pittsburgh State University and Northwestern University, and as assistant professor in Columbia College Chicago and Northwood University. An ardent learner, Mr. Arnab loves learning newer concepts in computer science and arts. Presently, he is working as software engineer with ShopRunner, which develops backend solutions for retail experience. I request Mr. Arnab to share his presentation.
Great. Thank you so much for that elaborate introduction. I see Sanjeev sir online, so I'm very excited because he has known me the longest here. He has been my first teacher at NIFT, so I'm excited to present to all, including him. Let me share my screen. If you can, any one of you can give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. Looks like thumbs up.
Yeah, it's visible, Arnab.
View, present. There it is. Hi, my name is Arnab Majumdar. I am a software designer at ShopRunner FedEx. It's a Fortune 50 company. We work on a complete solution for building infrastructure and retail experience for days where we want to compete with Amazon and likes of. I'll go to the next slide. As I have graduated from NIFT, then I worked at Reliance Trends and CRMs and had some experiences there before I did my master's. And since then, I have taught at educational universities, including Northwestern University, where I got my certificate, and now work at this new organization. Fashion's relationship with technology is old. Fashion uses the oldest and the newest technology all at once. Think about at times, spinning mills, ginning mills, punch card, jacquards, all are technology which fashion always incorporates in their future. Fashion's future is basically tech. If you think about how people are working out, how we are using EVs and the textiles inside EVs, how people interact on Zoom nowadays from anywhere they want to, technology as a solution is the future. Technology is transforming how we work, what we work on. Automation is happening in every system. Like earlier we had discussed, Mr. Kompella had talked about AI and machine learnings are now given. We are all doing it. Basically, human beings are saying, no more repetitive work. We want to design, we want to create conceptual things. Think about education. Look at our interaction today is through Zoom. AR and VR are even changing how teaching tactile subjects can be very innovative. Focus on how to learn new things versus learning a subject. Again, use Google, but always verify your information. Art and technology is also transforming. Think about NFT. Think about cryptocurrency and how people are buying and selling art. The entire business of art and cryptocurrency is, and also NFT is completely changing how a lot of you artists are going to interact with technology. Even think about earlier, we talked about 3D fit models being replacing fit models, fashion retailing in virtual reality, including Mr. Kompella said earlier about gaming avatar fashion. A Gucci nice avatar suits me pretty well. Even textile and technology. If you can recognize that mask, it's will I am mask. And now we know we are all wearing masks, and I encourage you to wear masks. Future of technology and textiles is intertwined together. There is no other way healthcare can move forward without textiles. Even wearable technology. Think about Apple Watch and how you can be immersed in an experience, even when you are just getting bored at a plane. Your doctors can get direct information about your heartbeat, your cholesterol, whatnot. I think wearable technology is worth investing your time in. That's not to say technology and in-person experience will go away. We talked about the interactiveness of in-person experience will be important. This is the Apple Store, which is where a lot of people stand outside to just see the first Apple product. So in-store experience will always be important. Retail, as we talk, everybody, including Varun and Mr. Varun and Mr. Dash talked about, was retail and data and data. Like data can solve most problems. Now we're getting data in real time. There's omni-channel optimization is happening. Supply chain is complex also. And think about it. Influencers are using data to get to the target market. And visual merchandising. Oh my God, visual merchandisers should be so excited about the future, which is so visual. Digital channels are innumerous and ever expanding. Think about tech as art and business, and you will succeed. Technology and even handicraft are important. Think about ways to modernize handicraft. Use new technology, but don't lose essence of who you are, what handicraft means to being the identity of we all at the end of the day. So it's important to lift handicraft. Technology and sustainability is very important. We all talked about wastage. Fashion industry consumes 25% of world's chemical output. Technology has been used to reduce water wastage in textile machineries. We're talking about less wastage. Companies like Patagonia and Everlane are talking about who exactly made your garment. And we talk about durability of products in the age of low quality fast fashion. In that moment, I want to talk to you about diversity, gender gap, and inclusion. Diversity is strength. Equity in pay and promotion is, among others, are important. Improves morale and productivity. There should be 50% of the speakers should be women. But imagine this is a potential. Unlock India's growth potential. And fashion and policy making. I know Janani ma'am works a lot with policy making. You have to protect labor laws. You have to protect IPR laws. You have to have anti-discrimination laws, environmental laws, protect your consumers, and even protect your consumers in cyberspace. So think about fashion and policy. Keep up with technology. Be a constant learner. What I learned at NIFT, the most important part was how to learn new things. And so I'm doing it throughout my life. What I know, Benjamin Franklin said, an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Read non-technical books, improve your communication skills, read about other fields, get ideas from other fields. Fashion is all about connecting ideas, social, economic, cultural, and so many factors. And at the end of the day, the most important part is spread the knowledge. Be in a world which is collaborative. Knowledge sharing is the future. Technology is the future. So be the author of your times. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnav. You have extensively covered the relationship between fashion business and technology. As consumers, designers, and technologists, it is imperative for us to seriously look into what we are leaving for the future generations and design and consume products which are more sustainable than following the trends blindly. Now I would like to welcome our beloved director, ma'am, Ms. Susan Thomas, IRS, to deliver the closing remarks.
Thank you, Nanika. I must confess that, I'm a humanities student and, I always watch technology conferences with a lot of trepidation. But, I'm having 3 screens now. I have a meeting with the secretary going on. And at the same time, I couldn't resist myself but join this because NIFT has whetted that appetite for technology and design in me. And I couldn't agree more with Arnab when he said that, technology, art and design, using it for sustainability, handloom, handicraft, all this is so central to NIFT's curriculum and NIFT's vision as well. Luckily for me, there is going to be a saved bit in the YouTube of this seminar, and I'm planning to catch that on during the weekend. But congratulations to the technology department for having organized a stellar program, complete in the PechaKucha format. And all my gratitude goes out to the speakers who have joined us from different time zones and from different parts to add value and to give an impetus to our students. What I also really liked was that, Arnab stressing on the soft skills and, investing in knowledge creation, and how new things are coming up in technology and art, the latest being non-fungible tokens, which are coming up. So I hope, all the students, 300 odd of you who have joined from different campuses of NIFT, you guys learn to stand on the shoulders of giants like these. The speakers that we had arrayed for you today's evening have been giants in their field, with tremendous amount of academic discipline, with tremendous appetite for research, curiosity, and lovely presentation skills as well. So I hope you take these as inspirations and walk the path of technology to create, to add value to community, and also always to keep the flag of NIFT flying high. Thank you so much all for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am, for your continuous guidance and motivating us in every step to do better. With this, we come to the end of this PechaKucha. I thank all our distinguished speakers for this very informative PechaKucha, all the attendees, students, faculty members from different centers, industry associates, and NIFT alumni. This is Nanika Kaushal, Assistant Professor, Department of Fashion Technology, with the Fashion Technology Fraternity from NIFT Bangalore, signing off. Please remember to keep your mask and guard up against COVID-19. Have a safe and happy weekend, everyone. Thank you.